Hello and welcome back to another episode of Getting Every Minecraft Achievement. Currently I'm just faffing around a bit and trying to get some iron and resources because, as we know, I ended last episode with nothing, and that's not conducive to getting every Minecraft achievement, having nothing. So I was just running around a bit trying to find some surface items instead of going into underground. But I did spot that mangrove forest, and that was very exciting because there are frogs there, and I love frogs. And I found these frogs, and I was so excited because they're so cute. Why is their walk cycle so detailed? Why do they move like that? I love them so much. Just silly little goofy guys. He just pushed him. It was so rude. I wish I had some slime balls so that I could have tadpoles, but alas, it was not time yet. I finally did some mining, where I found some coal and some iron. What I did cut out was all of the times that I died in the caves, but we saw that last episode, and it was pretty much a very similar experience. Just go in the cave, die, come back, get my things, which I did fail to do last episode. In this next bit, I found a skeleton spawner, and I didn't have any armor or anything to, fight the skeletons to get the loot in the chests, so instead I burrowed like a mole above it so I could drop down and light up the spawner and then not fight the skeletons. It was a solid strategy. Although I did realize I was too high up to actually place a torch, which was problematic, but I'd figure it out. Because if I placed a torch there, then it would hopefully be bright enough that none would spawn, and then there would just be skeletons in the room. I just dropped in. Didn't die. I don't know how. I still don't know how. And I finally collected all of the loot from the chest, and I was hoping it'll be something really good, but all it was a Smite 3 book. I risked my life and also died a couple times off camera for a Smite 3 book. For the build that I wanted to do today, I would need a lot of mud. I knew this, and so I decided to take a chunk out of the mangrove forest, because there is a way that you can make mud, and at the time I didn't actually know this, and I thought I was going to have to keep coming back here and destroying the swamp, which I preemptively felt really bad about, but no, you can make mud. You can left-click a piece of dirt with a water bottle, and it turns into some mud. It's pretty cool, and also kind of convenient, because mud's a really good building block. Packed mud and mud bricks they look so nice. So in order to use packed mud and mud bricks, you have to combine a mud block with some wheat. And because I wanted to use a lot of packed mud and mud bricks, I knew I was going to need a lot of seeds. So I was going to plant a giant wheat field. It doesn't look very big right now, but I promise in the future it'll be really big. It'll be absolutely massive. So much wheat. Bread for days. See, it's getting there. Expanding. Filled with wheat. For this build, I was going to need a few other things that I didn't have, so I went out to explore to find them. And I found this snowy biome. I didn't actually check which one it was, but it's pretty exciting because this means I'll hopefully have powdered snow, and I'll also have a place to take a tadpole to grow up into the green frog, which is really exciting because this is pretty close to my house as well. On my adventures, I found this other village, which I looted some carrots and potatoes from because I didn't have them back at home. I also changed the villager's job block a few times to cycle through his trade so he would trade me wheat for an emerald, because I had a whole bunch of wheat and I wanted some emeralds. Back home I was ready to start building, but first I ran into this cat, and I had so much fish that he was going to be my friend. And he was. I was no longer catless. This was incredibly bizarre to me. I was in a birch forest by the ocean, and there was just a jungle tree. It wasn't a jungle biome, or anything like that. I hadn't planted this tree. This tree had naturally spawned here, and it was just a jungle tree in the middle of the forest, just chilling. All weirdness aside, I did finally find the last building block I was looking for, which was the brown mushroom block. I didn't have silk touch yet, so I just had to break it and I was going to replant it later. My wheat field had started to yield a pretty impressive harvest already. This would be good not only for making packed mud blocks, but I could also trade it with villagers for some emeralds. I hadn't done a lot with my area yet. The only thing that had really happened was the wheat field, as well as the cobblestone boxes that I laid out for where I wanted to put buildings in the future. Now it's time for the really fun part of villager trading. Breaking and replacing the same job block for 5 minutes to get the trade from a villager that you want, and they really just don't want to give it to you. This guy eventually gave me the trade that I wanted so I could give him some emeralds for the massive amounts of wheats that I had to start up my economy. I wanted to zombify and cure this guy a few times so I could get some discounts. I know I haven't been to the Nether yet, so I shouldn't have weakness potions, but there is another way to get some weakness. Moving villagers in boats will never not be funny to me. They look so silly. We're in a boat, on land. Why? I wanted to put these two villagers together so that they could make babies. And when I say it like that, it sounds really weird, but honestly, the whole villager setup thing, when you think about it, gets really weird really fast. It took a while, but the villagers eventually had a kid. The secret to how I was going to get these weakness potions was through Fletcher's arrow trades, which this guy didn't have. He had water-breathing arrows instead. So I was going to have to trade up an entirely different Fletcher to see if then they would have the weakness arrows. Fun. To be honest, I don't remember why I wanted chickens, but I did. And they had a baby, and it was very cute. Although it was weird for the chickens to be doing a live birth, I'll let it slide today. I finally got that Siamese cat that I wanted to get in the first episode but didn't have enough fish for. Ignoring my inventory filled with crossbows, this guy did have the weakness arrows that I wanted, which was a win. And there was another cat. I also saw this cat in the first episode, but I had no fish, and I was really sad about it. I have him now, and he is my friend. After I broke far too many lecterns, I finally got a villager who had silk touch. However, I also wanted to put it on a diamond axe, which I didn't have, but there was a villager who would trade me for it. The best way to level that villager would be to trade for iron and coal for emeralds, but I had neither of those things, so I had to go mining again. I found some diamonds, but I was also running into the issue that I had no more torches. But I had a plan. I had a bucket and there was some lava nearby, so I decided that if I could get a bucket of lava, I could use it to light up the cave around me a bit as I went. And it actually worked pretty well, honestly. So I ended up trading for a second silk touch book because at one point I went back to my house and I left the book there, and I decided that it would be good to have a second silk touch book. But that did mean I had to trade a bit more in order to get the sword, because that was more emeralds than I had still. But I did eventually get the sword, so everything was fine. It was time for the next step of all of this. I wanted to put silk touch on the axe so I could break the mushroom blocks without just getting mushrooms back. And because I was going to get a lot of my diamond items through villager trading, I decided to make myself another diamond pickaxe. Making mud might honestly be one of the most tedious tasks that a person can do in Minecraft, and that's honestly pretty impressive. It's a really nice block though, so I made a lot of mud. One of the things that I wanted to do was make myself a little house in the village so that I could store all of my stuff in it, as well as in the future put all of my items that I only wanted to trade away in here. Block palette is honestly one of my favorites that I've made in a while. The blocks all just work really nice with each other. I managed to make myself another friend with this wolf here. I don't know what I'll name him, but it'll be something nice. I found myself another spawner which had equally mediocre loot as the last one did. I also found this huge vein of diamonds. I have no idea how many were in it because I had a few diamonds in my inventory already, but I was mining a considerable amount of diamonds. Far more diamonds than I thought I would find, and far more diamonds than I thought should even spawn in the first place. Back home, there was another cat. Also, ignore all of the buildings that popped up. We'll get to those later. Trying to get this zombie to turn this villager into another zombie was actually really difficult for some reason. They were just buddies, I guess. And apparently I didn't have my spawn set anywhere, so when the zombie killed me because I was trying to get him to turn the other villager into a zombie, he just killed me and I was at spawn and I had to do the walk of shame back. I ultimately decided to open the roof so the zombie would burn to death so I could get my things back and then try again the next night to get a new zombie. Switching to rails made moving them around a little bit easier, but it still didn't seem to fix the problem that the zombie and the villager just seemed to be buddies. It turned out the problem was that the zombie was aggroed on me because he could still see me. The second that I walked out of his eye line, he just turned the villager into a zombie. I decided to kill the zombie because I didn't actually need him anymore. Now I just needed to cure the zombie villager I'd created. And it turns out I never actually fired a bow before this point. Crazy. But once he cured, he did give me the discount that I needed, which was nice. 1 melon for 1 emerald. Pretty sweet. And then a gray cat spawn, which is pretty exciting. Not only because it's a cat, but also because it's a bit silly, but a character in my webcomic is a gray cat, so every time I find a gray cat in Minecraft, I like to name him Gravel, because that's the cat's name. Now we're skipping ahead quite a bit here in this next bit, because I finished building off camera, because honestly building on camera is kind of stressful. And then I had all of these villagers make babies with each other, because honestly, villager breeding is also really boring to watch. You just feed them bread, wait 10 minutes, and then you have another villager. What was exciting is that at this point I had all of the infrastructure to get diamond armor. It had really bad enchantments, but it was diamond armor. The librarians would get me covered with all the enchantments. I know everyone complains about the post-villager update villagers being really overpowered, but they're really useful. And not even in a cheaty way, because it takes a really long time to get to this point, but they make every single, enchanted good item renewable. So if I die in some unfortunate place, I can just come back, trade for an hour or two, and then voila! I've got all my things again, and I don't have to mine for 5 hours. There's a couple ways to get free emeralds off of cured zombie villagers. The one that would seem like it would make the most sense is to take a cartographer, cure him enough times that he trades 1 glass pane for 1 emerald. Then take a librarian villager and trade with him twice to get 8 glass for 2 emeralds. Then with that glass, make 16 glass panes and trade those glass panes with a cartographer for 16 emeralds. And you'd make a 14 emerald profit. However, my cartographer's a loser and kept raising the amount of glass panes he wanted for 1 emerald, so that didn't really work for me. What I ended up doing was waiting for my librarian villager that I cured to restock one of his trades. He'd trade 1 emerald for a bookshelf, and a bookshelf breaks into 3 books, but this guy would trade a book for an emerald, so I'd be making 2 emerald profit off of each bookshelf. Some of my other villagers were also giving me discounts, so I would trade 3 emeralds for a bookshelf, and then break that bookshelf, and then trade 1 book for 1 emerald. So I wouldn't be making any emeralds off of that, but I would be getting a lot of experience. I also had no idea that all of the iron axes that I traded my weaponsmith for would actually come in useful, because my diamond axe had silk touch on it, so every time I would break a bookshelf, it would just give the bookshelf back to me, which is usually really convenient, but this time it was just really annoying because I'd keep breaking it with my silk touch axe, because why would I use an iron axe if I have a diamond axe? These villagers are also a really good XP farm because I was able to put protection, mending, unbreaking, and some other enchantments on my diamond armor, and not have to struggle or mine at all. I just keep trading. Hello. I hope this is working. Welcome to my house. These are my animals that I collected throughout this very long adventure. I actually cleaned out most of my stuff from here already because there was a lot of stuff from this that I've got. And I also, one of the really important things is that the paths needed to be railways, because I have to move these villagers around. Not anymore, I did have to move them around a lot though. This guy is my farmer. I was gonna have another farmer, and then I decided not to, because I didn't really need another farmer, because it turns out you could just scam librarian villagers. But we'll get to them. Here are my Fletchers. I also don't really need them anymore, but they still get a house. And I decided to design this house like a lumber mill, because the only thing I really use Fletchers for besides the tipped arrows is for trading sticks for emeralds. And so I decided to theme it around that. And I put the sheep because I was running out of wool to make beds, because every time you breed a villager, you have to put down another bed. So I just put them over there near the farmer. He can take care of them. And this building is my blacksmith, toolsmith people. And I have my anvil in here. He's very broken. But these trapdoors are a feat of design in the worst way possible. But these guys, yeah, they trade me a bunch of stuff. And I have Unbreaking 3 mending protection 4 on all my armor, and I have mending Unbreaking efficiency 5 on all the tools that I feel like need it. I also have sharpness 5. I never get sharpness 5. Here are my librarians. And also the lone cartographer, because he doesn't get his own building. He's also back down to 1 gloss pane for 1 emerald. Finally. And this iron golem spawned, and I did try to kill him once, but apparently he just killed me. And if we go upstairs, there's more. These stairs are a menace, and when I didn't have these doors set up yet, the villagers would just run out and fall down the stairs, and it was very scary. But I have even more librarians up here. And at one point, these librarians started breeding on their own. It was terrifying, because I didn't actually need any more librarians. I didn't feed them bread or anything. They just started making hearts with each other. So then I just set some job blocks down, but there's like this guy. If I ever need any other enchantment, I'll just come to him and cycle through the lectern block again. But yeah, a lot of mud went into this. Unfortunately, the villagers, I can't show you guys the villagers crowding around the door because I don't seem to want to be doing it right now. But boy, were they doing that, and it was a menace. And honestly, the village is kind of small. I did replace all of the ground though, because the grass just didn't fit. And then I know that you wouldn't find like these spruce trees near these hot savanna trees. And I remembered what the acacia forest is called. It's a savanna. But yeah, it's a cute little village that definitely didn't take me hours to construct. But yeah. Oh, and wait, I forgot to tell you about this house. This house is currently vacant, but if I ever need to cure a zombie villager, or even zombify a villager in the first place, I can trap a zombie in here, put him in a minecart, and then wheel in a villager. And I learned after I accidentally killed several villagers that it turns out in order for it to be a 100% chance of curing, you have to be on hard mode. But I'm also not curing villagers anymore, so I want to put myself back on normal mode because I'm going to the Nether next episode, and if I have to do the Nether on hard mode, sheerly by accident, I will go insane. So we're just not doing that. But yeah, this building, it kind of, I'm missing a mud block. Oops. I'll fix that off camera, don't worry about it. When I didn't have that center bit there, it just looked like a face holding its little hands up. And it was not my best feat of architecture. But yeah, next episode there probably won't be as much building for 20 hours or however long I spent on this. And this is the well, but I guess I just put the bell in with the librarians. And it's also too tall, but you can't see that there's no water in it. This village is in a drought. It's okay. I ended up getting a lot more achievements than I thought I would this episode because I was only really going for like What a Deal and Zombie Doctor, but I forgot about things like I haven't picked up a lava book and I haven't shot a bow, so that was pretty nice. I mean, I'm glad I recorded it this time because it's still early game where you just get achievements by accident. And I know they're called advancements, not achievements, but they mean the same thing to me, so I will be using the word interchangeably and there's nothing anyone can do to stop me.